Good morning. Welcome to Maximum Rising. My name is Stephanie, and I am here to support you rising out of the darkness, the ashes, whatever emotionally or religiously traumatized you. Okay? So today, since we are in Leo season, I talked a lot the other day. Of course, by the time everybody sees this, it's going to be Wednesday. I talked a lot the other day about opening the heart, that Leo is all about the heart center. So I wanted to discuss about what do you mean, Stephanie, opening my heart? I thought, isn't my heart okay? Well, here's the thing. When you have trauma, or anything emotional that happens, because trauma, does transmit to emotions, you have a heart wall. Okay, how do I know that? Well, I met this Taurus. I'm just going to call people by their signs. I met this Taurus at the chiropractic office. We ended up being friends. That proved to me, through my own body, that I had a heart wall. And we'll get into that later. So what happens is the emotional, especially the emotional trauma, can happen even before you're born. Okay. It can be from your mom. I found out that my mom, when she was pregnant with me, she was triggered, and that emotion was transferred to me. I told y'all about 17 generations of anxiety and fear. Okay, that wasn't even mine, but it was transferred to me. So the thing is, Leos can be very sexual. Why do I mention that? Well, when you are in that energy of sex and you're performing, and a baby comes out of that, you are not only, feeling good and all those things, but you're also transferring DNA, emotions, and traumas, and anything that's good and everything that may be not so good. I'll use that to help to support your understanding, to each other and to what you're creating. And I don't necessarily even mean the baby. It could be if you're building a business, you can transfer it into that, and then you wonder, well, why aren't I getting a lot of people? You could be cooking food, right? You're using various seasonings, but if you are uptight and you are anxious or you're angry, you are transmitting that into the food. Okay? So in this instance, we'll stick with the baby aspect, but those were some examples. So when you have a baby, that baby has all your fears from you and from from your partner or whoever your sex partner was or is. Okay, and sometimes one dominates more than the other. My dad's side tended to dominate more than my mother's side. Okay, and so aside from the trauma that we grow through as we get older and grow out of and continue to let go of all these layers, we also have that from my ancestors and from past lives. Okay, in a past life I was a slave. Okay, and that transmitted to me twice. What do I mean by that? Well, I was my sister Shelley, and she was born with an umbilical cord around her neck. And I remember my mother telling me that they had to, if I remember correctly, when she came out, they had to unravel her, or either she had a C-section and they had to unravel her. Well, when you're wrapped up in the cord, you can't breathe. Okay, so at that time when I was Shelley, I had everything imaginable because I was still, in my head, a slave. So this is my experience. This is maybe why some may be born this way because of a past life. Again, this is my experience from when I was Shelly, okay? Then I was born as Stephanie again because I decided I want to come back. I want to make a difference. I wanted to generate, going back to human design, I wanted to support the human experience, the consciousness of our mother, generating love, generating those things that will uplift us, okay? So I came back as Stephanie, all right? And then when I was born this time via C-section, they kept watching me because my mom had anxiety, okay? She had lost several children. She had miscarried. And at one point she was afraid that she would not make it. You know, she had a lot of things going on. Well, when I was born and they did a C-section, the cord that was wrapped around was very loose. So why do I keep mentioning that? Well, when I was a slave, I had a chain around my neck, okay? Which is why through life, I have been finding ways, and at times it has been challenging for me to express myself, to communicate, which is why in past friendships and relationships, people got on me because I did not speak. And when I did speak, of course, I was full on Scorpio, but that's for another video. So in this happening to all of us, the heart builds a heart wall. I had been hurt so many times. I remember when I was 9 years old, a teacher had made fun of me and the kids had made fun of me. So I didn't go to recess. I was 9 years old. And around that time also, which is very relevant, I really didn't like pink anymore because I saw a pink car and it was the ugliest car I had ever seen. So I decided to like purple, hence why I wear purple. And also I decided that nobody will ever hurt me again. Well, my heart felt that energy and built a wall, an energetic wall. So when I would hug people that I started to be comfortable with, which is very rare, people didn't feel the love from my heart because it was blocked. I was very cold, very detached. That's the Aquarius part, because I didn't want to get hurt. When it came to relationships and you got close to me, like my best friend and soulmate, later on in high school, I pushed people away. I will let you get close, but not too close. All right? Because I didn't want to get hurt. If you can relate to this, comment below. Okay? And again, feel free, comment, like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Okay? Because my goal is to support as many people as possible, to help as many people as possible. All right. So I was very, very Aquarian at that time. Very detached, very cold, no feeling. I didn't want to feel because feeling sucked. I didn't want to feel. All right. So in me doing that, and I mean, for you, it could be, past life plus this life. Maybe you were sexually molested. I have friends that grew through that. Maybe you were raped. I have friends that are still growing through that. Maybe it wasn't anything like that at all, but maybe your dad made fun of you. I have a friend that she had experience with that. Maybe you had a dad and a mom that said, well, you have to know or you're not smart enough. So then at 5 years old, I had to prove, well, I am smart. And sometimes, sometimes, to be honest, I would make shit up. Because I didn't know, but I started to research and research and research. That's the Scorpio. Dig. What else do I need to know? What do I need to know? What do I need to know? Feeding the ego. When it should have been in my heart, but I didn't know that at the time. Okay? So these are ways, maybe, your heart was broken. Maybe in past relationships, maybe it was very narcissistic. Okay, you didn't know you were drawing that in, but that's who you were being at that time, and you drew that in somehow. And what I tell you, most of it I have experienced, though I have not, been physically abused. I was mentally and emotionally sexually abused, but not from a physical standpoint. Okay, so though we've all experienced something similar, just from different aspects, different points of view. Okay, so all of this, whatever it is, getting beaten, which to me, I'm just being honest, spanking and beating to me is the same thing. Anything like that, being yelled at. When I was yelled at, I was like instantly being yelled at. How's your immune system? What kind of foods were you eating at that time? Were you really eating healthy foods? I wasn't. Okay, so I grew up vegetarian, but just because you grow up vegetarian doesn't mean you're healthy. Okay, we ate everything fried. We ate onion rings and fries from Popeyes that was in beef oil. Okay, there is nothing healthy about that. All right, and the sad thing is my body didn't like it, and I would go back and eat it. Now, I'm not saying that you can't, treat yourself every once in a while, but to eat oily foods consistently is just not healthy, okay? So why am I mentioning all of this? All of this has something to do with, however you want to word it, with your heart being closed, okay? Which is why you turn to food, why you do all these things. Okay, you get the point. All right, great. Now, what are some ways that I open my heart? What are some ways that you can open your heart? Okay. So by the time I met my Taurus friend, I had been doing yoga. Okay, so I am a yoga instructor. I am really into restorative yoga. Before that, those of you that are like, okay, yeah, that's kind of boring. I get you. I was there too. Okay, so back up once. I started though in Vinyasa Flow. All right. So what I loved about Vinyasa Flow is the opening at the end. Once you were doing the sequence, you would stop, open, bringing the chest and shoulders back, and then you would go downward facing dog, roll yourself up, and come back to mountain pose. So that is one way. You can even just stand if you're flexible enough. If of course, if you've been doing Vinyasa Flow, you are to a point. And just bring yourself back, shoulders back, interlace your fingers like this, so that way your pointer finger is pointing down to the ground, and just stand this way, okay? Now, if you're like, Steph, do you know how old I am? I'm not doing that. Okay, gotcha. Okay, well, this is restorative yoga. So what I like to do is take 2 pillows and put them in between my shoulder blades, okay? Your shoulder blades are the wing of the shoulder, okay? You can feel it. If you take your hands and you put them straight back as much as you can. I know not everybody can do this. But that part of your shoulder that touches your back, that is your scapula, okay? So, put in between the blade of the scapula, which is really the spine of the scapula. Sorry, I'm going Virgo on you, being technical. But anyway, if you just put those pillows there, I like to put them vertical instead of horizontal. But experiment. And if you don't want pillows, okay, fine. You have a block, use a block. If you have a book, use a book. Whatever you're comfortable with, okay? And you just bring your arms out into a T and just lay there. And you just breathe in, breathe out that 4/4 count that I've done in my other video. And just as you're doing it, just imagining your heart opening. That's another way. And then, of course, that meditation, you can go back to the other video that I did when I put my hands over my heart and I was leading you through meditation. That's another way to open your heart. Okay? Another way to do that. Now, okay, let me also just say that when your heart is opening, some things are going to come up. All right? Some things are going to come up. It can be emotions. Okay? Anytime you do yoga, even during a massage, I have had people have an emotional release during a massage because, and I'm going to go back to psychology for a second. And the reason why is not to get up here. It's because it goes with what I'm saying. Okay? Now, psychology teaches that we do store emotions in each part of our organs. Okay? Not only does psychology teach that, but Chinese medicine teaches that. Tui Na is one way also to open up those centers, those pathways. What else? And there's also muscle memory too. So as a massage therapist, when I am massaging you, there may be some things that come up that you haven't remembered in years. So then, for instance, let me give you an example. So when I first started reflexology, first of all, I didn't believe in it. Okay. I was like, okay, I'll go certified and see if this shit is true. So I was in Stafford at the time. I was massaging a lady. She had cancer and she couldn't do anything deep, but she loved reflexology. So I worked on her foot. But I also worked on her ankle. Okay, the ankle represents the womb. And as I worked, I believe it was her right ankle, I said, I noticed the difference. And I said, I said, I noticed your ankle looks a little different on this side. And she said, oh my God, I forgot. But whatever years ago, I had surgery. And when I worked her stomach, her large and small intestine to be more specific, and the stomach points, I noticed how, what's a good word to describe, tough, how tough it was to manipulate with my thumbs. And I asked her, do you have stomach issues? She said, yes. But I haven't in a long time. But she said, maybe it's the medication. She said, actually, yeah, it is because, the medication she was taking for her cancer. I took a step back, and this is before I was even deep in astrology. I said, are you a Virgo? She said, yes. How did you know that? Virgos are known for stomach issues. So are cancers. Okay. So that's what I mean by muscle memory. I have, and even situations can inflect the muscle, okay? Influence the muscle. So I'm working on someone in the massage and I ask her, so how's your mom? I was working on her left side. The left side deals with what? Emotions. I kid you not, I had just loosened her up. This side, all the way up to her neck, went like this and tightened up all over again. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to loosen that up over again. I shouldn't have asked that question. But you get to know your clients. Those of us that are personal trainers, yoga instructors, and massage therapists, y'all know how it is, or even coaches, therapists, whatever. Once you get to know your client, you're kind of, you ask, you get to know them, you ask about their family. And I know, her and her mom didn't get along great. I didn't know it was that bad. But yes, her whole left side just tightened up. And so as I worked it out, she worked it out by talking. about, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, so I'm saying all that to say, yes, we all have muscle memory. Yes, emotions can attach to muscle and to certain organs when we are in that low frequencies, in those low frequencies. And in the high frequencies. The high frequency comes from the heart because the highest frequency you can ever be in is love. Okay? Real love, real love. Okay? I'm not talking about, oh, I love you as long as you do for me, and I love you because you're. No, no, no. I'm talking about real love. Like, I love you, I accept you no matter what. You can get on my last nerve and I still love you. I still love you. I can love you from afar, but I love you. Okay? That doesn't change. You can be detached as fuck and still love somebody. It is possible. That's the only cord you don't clip, is that cord of love between you and that other person. Okay? Now, what are some other ways to open your heart? Breath work. All right? Like I said, I know I mentioned that a little bit when I was talking about yoga, but you can also, with breath work, as you're laying there doing yoga, you can do the 4-4 breath. If it's at night, you can do the 4-8 breath, meaning you breathe in for 4, you let it go out slowly for 8 counts. Okay? You can put your hands over your heart, like I mentioned. Or if you're like me and you can tune into your heart without doing any of that, you can do it just by, a lot of times at the end of a yoga practice, they'll get you to feel into your heartbeat like I did in the past video. And you will feel your heartbeat from your head all the way down to your toes. Okay? That's another way of doing that. Something that I just thought about, music. Okay, this music that I'm listening to, I do not own the rights to it. Again, this is Barry Goldstein. This is Yoga Journeys. Very appropriate. And he does a lot of heart-centered things. I consider his music very spiritual. Okay? So that is another way, if you're very musical, listening to music to open your heart. Singing can open your heart too, because of the frequency. All right. What else? Essential oils. Okay, lavender is very great to clear. So put the lavender over your heart. I used to use, and they don't make it anymore, and I'm very disappointed in that. I'm a huge doTERRA girl, but they don't make Elevate. But you could take Elevate at that time, and if they make another version of it, whoever's watching this, my Taurus friend, let us know. But I used to put Elevate over my heart every morning. That's another way. Or anything that clears. I mean, frankincense, you could put that over your heart. Energy work, all right? Energy work is very great. That's how, another way I was able to do it. My Taurus friend is an emotion code practitioner. What in the world is that? Well, emotion code uses muscle testing in order to see what emotions are attached. Okay? That's how I found out my heart wall. That's how I found out how thick it was and what it was made with. So that is very good to start and clear. And that is if, this goes back to listening to the body, if the body is ready. Another way also is Reiki. Okay? Using crystals and Reiki are very great because it can bypass sometimes the body and open the heart. Using Leo energy, bringing that in to open the heart space. Yes, you can use stars, the constellations, to support you in healing. Okay? We are all star seeds. Okay? Okay, so you can use the lavender essential oil, of course, or you can have these seeds here. Okay. And what I like to do is put them in a little plate and then have some of them drip there and burn it. And it's a very great, if you're a lavender fan, I'm a huge lavender fan, and breathe that in during meditation is very great for meditating with it, and let it clear your heart as well. Um, excuse me. Crystals that I use this is pink quartz. If you have a smaller piece of this, you can put it in your bra. Okay. Stephanie, I'm a male. I don't have a bra. Okay. So if you have a pocket, you can also put in your pocket. I don't see why that wouldn't work. Also, malachite is very good for the heart center. Notice that it is green, the color of the heart chakra. Very good for the heart. Learning human design. Is your heart center defined or undefined? My heart center is, I believe, defined. And so, I'm sorry, it's undefined. I just remembered that. Because my partner's, his is defined, which helps me out. But yeah, from my head down to the heart is undefined. Or is it the opposite? Okay. I always get the heart center and the diamond in the middle mixed up. So the heart is like out to the side. So yes, that is defined. I'm remembering a conversation with me and my Scorpio friend. She's like my sister for life. But anyway, so yes, that finding out if you're defined and undefined. You can get books to help you with that also. And just writing, journaling, bringing yourself, center in your heart, closing your eyes and asking your heart, what is it that you want me to know? Okay. Feeling the love from your heart. And allowing it to open more and more and more. More and more and more. Chanting. Om is a very good way if you are able to be in that vibration, not everybody is, to open that heart. There is also some Sanskrit. If you are on the Moonology site, each month she'll have something in Sanskrit that you can chant. Or you can look it up on YouTube. And chants that you can do for your heart to open it up. All right. So these are various ways to open your heart and let go. I mean, that's all you're really doing, right? Is you're letting go. So that way, when your heart is open and you give someone a hug, they can feel it. When you share love, people can feel it. Okay. So, in light of Leo season, let us take a moment, and instead of me leading you through a meditation, I invite you to just put your hand over your heart, and for the next 2 minutes, just breathe in and out. You can close your eyes. You can soften your gaze if you'd like, whichever way you want. And what has happened to me is I actually see green, which is the color of the heart. And before you know it, you hear that heartbeat. Taking a deep breath for me. And let it out through your mouth. Flick your eyes open if they were closed. Or do the same thing if you were just softening your gaze. May this be helpful to you. Know that you are so loved. If you have any questions, please comment below. And I will see you soon.